60 AM and 101.1 FM.
7:46 our time at Fox News Radio, 1460 AM and 101.1 FM. We'll call out a name in just a few minutes in our listener club. But right now, let's go ahead and say good morning to Luis Alvarez from the Alvarez Technology Group. Good morning to you, Luis.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Not bad at all. Interesting topic this week. Orbitz Worldwide finds that people who use Apple Macs spend as much as 30% more a night on hotels. So the online travel agency is starting to show them different and sometimes costlier travel options than Windows visitors see. Sounds like a trend.
Yeah, well, we've talked about online marketing and how these companies can target specific individuals. And Orbitz, the Wall Street Journal discovered that Orbitz in particular was using the kind of computer somebody uses to surf the internet as an indicator of their willingness to spend more money for accommodations. So if you on a Windows laptop looked for 5-star hotels in LA, for example, you'd get a different set of results than somebody on a Mac. The people on the Mac would get a list of hotels starting with much more expensive options because the marketing people have determined that Macintosh users generally are more affluent and are generally more desirous of spending, more money on accommodations and flights and things like that. So just yesterday, Orbitz, the CEO of Orbitz, defended this practice, saying that they weren't doing anything other than just using the data that's presented them to maximize the results for the users that are using Macs.
Wow. So, and I guess you can always list, show me pricing, like hotel rooms by pricing, and you can get a better deal that way. But still, I would imagine for some people who use a Mac, they might feel like, well, maybe I don't necessarily want to spend, another 30% for my room.
Well, and it's not like they're seeing the same room more, and being charged more than a Windows user. What they're seeing actually is more expensive options. So they might see the same options except, farther down the selection field. And as we know, based on years and years of studying people's marketing habits, generally when you're presented a list of results, whether it's just doing a Google search or if you're on a travel site like Orbitz and asking for information, you tend to select those options that are presented at the top of the list rather than wading down farther, into the results. So. I think Orbitz is just doing what they think is a smart marketing ploy. But it does point out that when you're online, we're being sliced and diced and categorized and put into certain boxes by the websites that we visit, the place we're surfing from. For example, if you're somebody who happens to be in LA or New York and you're surfing a travel site, you might be presented different options than somebody in Monterey simply because of where you're located.
Hey, Louis, I just had a call from a listener who wants to know, what about people who use a smartphone, like an iPhone or an Android, to book their rooms? Are they getting bumped up to the higher level options, or how are they being treated?
Well, it looks like if you're using an Apple-based device, an Apple iOS like a Macintosh or an iPad or an iPhone, you're going to get the same results because they're basing it on the fact that you own a Macintosh device, an Apple iOS device rather than just using an iMac or a Macintosh computer. They just figure that if you can afford those things, you're generally going to be more affluent than somebody who's using a Droid or just a Windows tablet or a Droid tablet.
What kind of response are you starting to see from people who realize what's going on here? What are the quote? I don't want to call them victims, but I guess for lack of a better term, but what are they saying?
Well, what you're saying is a realization largely of people that, we do get pigeonholed into certain categories because of all the information that's collected about us every time that we're on the net. We've talked about how Cookies, for example, will provide not just first-party websites, that is the site that you're visiting, that might drop a cookie into your web browser so that you can customize what you see when you come back, but also third-party cookie providers. These are the marketing companies that track your every move, and when you go online and you happen to be looking for new mattresses, and then all of a sudden you start getting emails coincidentally that start showing up a few hours later from different mattress companies. How does that happen? How do they know that you've been there? Or when you surf websites, all of a sudden you see ads that are specific to mattresses and different options for mattresses. And the reason is that once you've shown an interest in a specific type of website or specific type of product, they use that to target other manufacturers of similar products or complementary products as you surf the web. So if you and I go to the same website, you may be presented a completely different list of ads than I would be presented, simply based on our previous history of where we go and what we buy.
Right.
And I think the realization that we're being tracked so closely is a little disconcerting to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Erica Spade is a store designer from Queens. She uses Orbitz to reserve flights and hotels from time to time using her MacBook Pro. She thinks the program is clever, and she said, as long